Hi you guys, this is Rachel here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube Q&A video of the week. If you're new to this channel, I'm glad you're here. I always direct everyone to my website, which is themodernshaman.net. Make sure that you go, you check it out if you're interested in developing any of your psychic or intuitive gifts, as well as your shamanic and elemental awareness, energetic awareness, the modalities of moving, manipulating, shaping energy for healing, as well as just for clairsentient and empathic technique. There's a lot of resources available on my website. Those of you guys that have been with me for a while know that my masterclass teaching curriculum is available there, as well as my spiritual entrepreneur classes. So I always like to say that at the beginning, because if you don't know that that's an offering, sometimes these videos, they're such short and kind of broad information. That resource of my teaching curriculum is way more in depth. It has practice activities, it has homework, it has handouts, it has meditations, it has guided clearings and activations. It's just way more like where I'm sitting with you and guiding you through. And so if these videos feel like they leave you still wanting more, that's where I direct everyone. It's on the website, again, themodernshaman.net. All right, so here's the question for today. It says, "Hi Rachel, thank you for your channel and your teaching modules. I do the grounding meditation module over and over, and it got me thinking. Why is it that trees and the forest always make me feel so close to God? It seems like spirit talks to me more when I am out among the trees." I love that. You know, I've always felt that the veil is very thin in the forest. And forests have always been magical places, right? Throughout our history as humans on this earth. They're always known as magical, and even realms where those that seek or are mystical seers tend to live out among the trees in the forest and in union with nature. There's something that calls us there. So I can get a little scientific with it, because there are some just really grounded reasons that the elementals are palpably important for us that live in a human body. It's part of functioning best in our human form. And I'm talking about oxygen. So trees have a lot of oxygen, right? They produce the oxygen, and our bodies function so much better on high levels of oxygen. When we are in environments that are heavily concentrated with oxygen, and we breathe it in, first of all, it opens up the pathways, and the hemoglobin that takes the oxygen to the different parts of the body moves faster, and essentially allows the organs to do what they do at their highest capacity. So it makes our human form function like it's supposed to. So in a way, our bodies, these systems are phenomenal. They're brilliant, divine shells, computers, supercomputers, biological art that is absolutely phenomenal. And when it is functioning at its highest capacity, it is taking in a lot of oxygen. And that oxygen, when it comes in, it literally, high levels of concentrated oxygen give you more energy. They get rid of that fatigue and that tiredness of being in stale environments that don't have high areas of oxygen. The fresh oxygenation into the bloodstream, like I said, strengthens organs. It makes your brain function better. It produces anti-aging in your cells. It makes your immune system, it gives your immune system a natural boost. So I mean, every little capacity of the ways that a human body functions at its best are at their peak when you are in the forest. So part of that is your human functioning is at a very high capacity when you are among just a high amount of trees that are producing that oxygen and breathing and bathing in it. This is why we have something called forest bathing. And when we go camping, we feel closer to our natural state. It also brings us into a frequency balance. So the Shaman resonance, which is the heartbeat of Mother Earth, right? She has her own electromagnetic pulse, just like our heart creates an electromagnetic pulse, which gives our body a frequency, and we emanate this frequency, which can be seen as the auric field. It is non-visible light to our natural light spectrum, or what our eyes can perceive. But those that are trained to study auras or can feel the frequencies can read that frequency that you're emitting from your heartbeat and how well it functions in relation to the other organs of the body through the chakra system, which is our energetic organ system, right? And it is a system, like they function together, just like our bloodstream feeds the rest of our body and helps the organs function that we can see in 3D. So all that being said, when we are in these areas with the forest, it helps bring our resonant frequency in harmony with the planet. When we do this, we have a natural calibration that once again brings us as humans in our highest capacity to function on this earth. So it makes us better at functioning here. And really, our natural, organic way of living is very mystical. Our bodies are very mystical. Even when we think of it in scientific terms, the capabilities of what we're doing and feeling and sensing is very intuitive, and it's as if our body itself is a natural satellite and a natural receiver, and it can pick up the subtleties so much better when it's in its highest functioning capacity. And this is a balanced state of frequency, mind, body, and spirit. It's a balanced state internally of having our organs functioning at their, and our immune system and our hormones and all of that functioning at its highest level. Another thing on the scientific realm that makes us feel, I think, closer to God when we're in the forest is that nature has a very high concentration of negative ions, right? These are created by natural elements like wind and rain and fire and all of this. The natural elementals, when they interact with one another and break apart atoms, it creates negative ions. Now, the highest area of negatively charged ions are typically found in nature, around mountains and streams and waterfalls, and you can find them near shore break and the beach as well. But forests and places like this that have high concentrations of the negative ions. Now, when we are so charged from living in city life, from being around other humans, we essentially begin to kind of wear down our own receptors because we are constantly positively charged. And so we have this kind of unbalanced sense. If you think of ourselves as a magnet, we have a negative side of us and a positive side, right? And they hold a sense of balance. When they're in balance, we feel fantastic. When they're in balance, we are able to pick up on the non-physical, immaterial world just as we are the material world. It is a perfect balance. We are spiritual beings and physical beings. And this allows us to hear the non-physical, because this is always going on. The non-physical doesn't go anywhere, right? It's eternal and it's always there, but we are not always paying attention to it, or we're not always in balance with the negative and positive aspects of our charge, our self, our sense of energetic awareness. And when we aren't, we are outputting. This is the element of stress, right? A highly stressful person is typically outputting. And they are not bringing in or receiving as much energy. So the positive charge and the negative charge, like a magnet, are not balanced. When we go in nature and we receive vast amounts of these negatively charged ions, especially if we are living a stressed out life, or a life, even if our life isn't super stressed out, but we're in a big city where there's a lot of light pollution, sound pollution, just a lot that's happening and bombarding our system and our receptors, then we get a lot of this positive charge. And think about a molecule, right? And it's just receiving a lot of positive charge, like static electricity. We don't have a way to just discharge it or balance out the aspect of our energetic body. And so when we get into nature and we bring in the vast amounts of negatively charged ions, it brings us into harmony with our own electromagnetic system. And it feels phenomenal. And we're like, oh my gosh, I love nature. It feels so good. I just want to sit out here under the stars. But that's what's happening on an energetic level. And then things feel still and quiet. And we're able to sit longer in meditation. We're able to listen more intently to non-physical direction, to the guidance of our own intuition and higher intelligence, our own eternal wisdom that always sits inside of us. So the forest, I will say also, it's home to a lot of mystical, higher dimensional beings as well, because they feed off of this and they're aware of this and of the benefits that are there molecularly, energetically, elementally, in terms of literal elements, like of the periodic table of elements. There's a lot of benefit from all of the natural resources of this earth, and they're in highly concentrated areas in certain natural forming phenomenon on this earth. And so when we get close to them, our own system reacts, typically in positive ways. And mountains, inside of mountains, there are many, many non-physical beings, and off-planetary, I will say, or interplanetary dimensional beings that it's easier to communicate with, but it's not like you can't communicate with them from your own home. You can, but that's also available there. There are many reasons, that it functions and helps us living in this body. So I hope that's beneficial to you guys. Maybe you just feel supercharged to get out into the forest. And if nothing else, I've done my job if I've encouraged you to go out and connect with nature more. I love you guys. I'll see you back here next week.